Bob Rouse took the experience he gained from working for a Fortune 500 company and purchased a small business to be on his own. Rouse built a multi-million-dollar business by specializing in powder coating paint applications where bonding the paint to metal is essential for durability in its ultimate use, such as wheels for over-the-road trucks and frames for high-performance funny car dragsters. But with his success came new challenges Rouse would have to face. Bob was concerned about how to turn the business over to the next generation and protect everything he had worked for from being lost in a lawsuit.
Clark Manufacturing was made up of several little small businesses that were growing, and we had managed to buy a couple of other businesses. They were all under the umbrella of Clark Manufacturing. What your people offered was to come in and restructure this company into several smaller entities. Clark was a large C corporation. We operated under the legal entity of a C corporation. They suggested that we break up that entity into some smaller S corporations, which the tax laws are more favorable to the individual owner. And so we were able to break Clark Manufacturing into 4 different entities, which gave us not only the ability to take advantage of the taxes, but it furthered us from the legal ramifications of a lawsuit or whatever. That first entity was the first line of defense. They had to go through them and completely through them and through our insurance companies before they could get back to Clark, which was the parent entity. Well, like anything that you own, you would kind of like to know what's it worth, and how do you determine what it's worth. People may think that this desk is worth $10,000, and in fact, it's a reproduction, and you can buy it for $5,000. But the point being, how do you determine what is the value of something? Your representatives came in and showed me a method that is tried and proved with the IRS and how they will put an evaluation on the business. There are 3 different methods that they have to use, and they go through all of them and come up with a value, and then massage those values together and come up with a legal value for that business. And this will stand up in the IRS system and stand up in court. Once they come up with it, it can't be challenged for a period of years as long as nothing significantly changes. And so that was a big benefit to me, the fact that I had an independent people, independent methods of coming up with the value of a business. Once I got that value, there are many ways to try and get that value if that's what you want to do. In my case, I was interested in getting it into the hands of my family. And that would encompass taxes if they purchase it, if they inherit it. Inheritance taxes are atrocious. And so the method that we came up with, this being a C corporation, was that we sold my shares of that C corporation back to the corporation at the valued price per share of stock that had been determined. That benefit was that the money came out of the earnings of the corporation, not out of my son's pocket or whatever. So a good way to explain it was that I could leave the business, and I couldn't operate the business. I had to physically leave the business, and I could get the value of my share of that business paid to me by the company over a period of years, which you can determine. Therefore, the company and its earnings were paying me, not my son. So if the company made more money, I didn't get any more money. I got just my monthly payments, but my son was able to enjoy and use that money to continue to grow the business and ensure that I was going to be paid. There are many issues that you'll come across in a company where you may be involved in lawsuits, and your company is involved in lawsuits, and actually the company can be taken over, dissolved to pay for this lawsuit. And one of the biggest fears that I had was we had a portion of our corporation that was involved in day-to-day deliveries within, say, an 800-mile radius of product that was manufactured. We put it on a trailer, which was hauled by a truck, and they would deliver this and, in some cases, install it. And I had told my son that one of my greatest fears was that one of these days the trailer would come loose, or the driver would get involved in a jackknife situation or whatever, and that we would be involved in a large lawsuit. And although we had several $1 million in coverage, that it would go beyond this if there's a loss of life, serious injury, and so forth, that we could be wiped out. And so it was suggested that we break up that entity and form a corporation, an S corporation, in which it is simply the delivery and installation portion of the business. They contract with a major part of the corporation. They're a separate, standalone corporation. So if this does happen and the lawsuit occurs, they own that business. They own the trucks, they own the trailers. They don't own the major portion of the business. It's gone, and that's it. And I did have occasion to actually have that happen. One day on a busy interstate during rush hour, the driver had unloaded, and this made the trailer bouncier because it wasn't heavily loaded on the hitch, and it actually came off the hitch and pulled loose and broke the safety change. So here we were going down a road with a loose trailer. The driver was alert enough so that he applied the brakes and kept in front of the trailer. The trailer kept banging and banging, and as he tried to slow its speed and kind of get it under control. He was able to get it off to the side of the highway, kind of, before it got underneath him and actually tipped the truck over and the trailer and totally destroyed both vehicles. The driver was able to crawl out a window, and as he appeared on the side of the road, many of the people that were behind him stopped to see if they could be of assistance. And 2 or 3 of them stayed until the state police arrived, and they wanted to give testimony for him about what a great job he had done in containing that trailer. He hadn't taken off and left it, and how he probably avoided loss of life or serious injury to several of the people that were involved in that immediate area. So it gave me a good feeling that we were able to do that, and we didn't actually have a lawsuit, but it also gave me a peace of mind in knowing that had we been involved in a large lawsuit, only that small entity of the business would have been lost. I guess I would say peace of mind in knowing that I finally had accomplished what I wanted to accomplish all along. You never get time to go ahead and plan your estate. You don't get time to plan the transfer of assets or business. What this did was there was a gentleman in front of me who led me through all of these steps and made it painless. He said, "This is, what do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish?" And then he made it happen. It was all laid out in front of me. All I had to do when I got done was sign my name. So after years of thought and procrastinating, it was finally done. First of all, the knowledge that you gain on all of the tax laws, the legal ramifications of planning your estate or transfer of assets is overwhelming. And the fact that you have some of the best experts in the field helping guide you, who have knowledge of what other people have done and how it works through the courts, is priceless.